I don't know what to do. I truly am conflicted, Mr. Speaker. I'd hoped that what's on the board, this amendment, would have made it in the budget, as you know, but it didn't. I'm here to offer this. I offer this not only for the folks in Skowhegan and Madison, but the folks in the rim counties, places that people visit, places that used to be productive. In many cases, they still are productive. But we are one-horse towns. Those mills can no longer pay 60 to 70% of our tax burden. I'm here today, Mr. Speaker, because I think this is an issue of fairness. We decided to, at some point in time, to save money, to tweak the way we value our towns. We decided to go with a 3-year average. We changed things in sudden and severe to save money. We made some of those adjustments, Mr. Speaker, to help our thriving communities, so that they could be on a 3-year average because they are doing better. But I say to you, men and women of the House, it's not working for communities that lose valuation overnight. They lose valuation because the valuation in their mills drops out from the bottom of them, Mr. Speaker. We have sat in this House chamber, we have debated free trade policies, and I am here, Mr. Speaker, as a representative of a community who sees and feels the burden of those trade policies, Mr. Speaker. So if men and women disagree with free trade, if they disagree with what's happened with the paper industry, with foreign subsidies being dumped on the market, Mr. Speaker, I encourage you to light up the board. Vote for this amendment. Not because I'm the majority leader or anything like that, Mr. Speaker, but because you value mill towns around the state of Maine. I don't rise today to try to derail the budget. I truly rise because I don't know what to do, Mr. Speaker. Myself, I put forward several bills. This is not a new issue. When you go downstairs, you look at the law library, this has happened in towns around the state of Maine. Usually it's not so complex. Usually a bill gets proposed, it's acted upon, it moves forward, it ends up not being a partisan issue, and we address the needs of those communities, Mr. Speaker. So I am rise today really thinking about the times in our caucus, Mr. Speaker, when the good representative from Medway stands up, Representative Stanley, he speaks, I listen. His stories, they resonate with me. I listen to those stories stay in my head, and most importantly, Mr. Speaker, those stories stay in my heart. So I hope when we light up the board today, this gets support, but I also realistically realize that this has other consequences. It could upset the budget process, Mr. Speaker. But my hope is today we send this down to the Senate with this amendment attached. We see how it does. We'll debate this later on this week as well. But I really rise out of desperation, and I ask for your help, Mr. Speaker.
Chair, can I start to the report of the meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move House Amendment C to Committee Amendment A be indefinitely postponed.
Representative from Freeport of the meeting move that House Amendment C be indefinitely postponed. Chair, recognizes Representative Skowhegan, Representative McCabe.
Mr. Speaker, I request a roll call.
Skowhegan, Representative McCabe, request a roll call. The Chair will roll call. Mr. President, roll call, signify in the usual manner. Chair is down. Commission number have request a roll call is in order. Chair recognizes Representative Northwalk, Representative Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I rise to you today as we face many difficult decisions. And I'm reminded that the reason I was sent here was to represent the citizens of District 111, which include Madison and Norwalk and Seoul. I had the opportunity on June 8th to attend the Madison annual meeting. And I know we've had lots of discussions about carve-outs and backroom deals and everything else. And this is in the light of day that very similar to my colleague from Skowhegan, Representative McCabe. I'm reaching out to you to say I don't know what else to do as well. I watched the citizens of the town of Madison make difficult decisions on that night. In the last 2 years, their evaluation has, their mill rate's gone up by $4.4 per thousand. They've cut $500,000 out of their school administration budget. They've had $800,000 out of their municipal budget. And they just recently, on that Monday night, decided to turn their police department over to the Sunset County Sheriff's Department. So they're not looking for a handout. This body created part of this problem, and and I don't know the exact date, but 2 or 3 years ago, when they did the 3-year evaluation, and what this legislation is doing, and I submit to each of you, it could happen in your hometown. Instead of doing the 3-year average, is to do the 1 year. And it could happen to any one of you if you have a large employer in your town. And we're looking to make that, instead of the 3-year average, for the 1 year. And the citizens of Madison look out and say, yeah, we know that we're asking for this specifically, but if you look at a lot of the other folks, it can happen in their hometown. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Kenny Buckmore, Representative Seavey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Madam Women of the House. I'm wondering if this amendment will affect the reimbursement amount already calculated to the community center school funding formula. And if it does, there could be a breakdown on how this amendment affects our communities.
Representative, I move the question to the chair. Anyone who cares to answer? Chair recognizes Representative Virginia, Representative Gilbert.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Woman of the House, I stand in support of the motion before us. Town valuation should be modified as quickly as possible to reflect valuations when they experience sudden and severe drops in valuation as a result of mill abatements. In particular, the school funding formula as applied to each community, including the town of Jay, should be modified to reflect that loss in revenue. Prior to 2013, the mill in Jay was valued at $941,345. As a result of an abatement received by First on paper in 2014, the mill's value decreased to $607,206,244, a reduction in taxable property of $254,138,951, or 27% of the mill's taxable value. The understanding mill represents 69% of the tax base for the town of Jay, with a population of a little over 4,000. This loss is a very significant one for the purposes of the school funding formula. There is no coincidence that each of the paper mill towns has suffered significant reductions in valuation. It is an unfortunate reality in the paper industry in this state. The impact is severe on each town's valuation and application of the school funding formula and its impact on our students. Let me conclude by urging that all of us do the right thing. The education of a child in Jay is no less nor more important than the education of a child in Kittery, Fort Kent, or anywhere in between. We want all our children to have an opportunity to learn and grow, but we need to allocate our limited resources in a fair way to provide everyone with a fair opportunity. House Amendment B does just that, and I urge you to support the amendment. I am asking, pleading for your support for paper towns throughout the state of Maine.
Chair recognizes Representative Medway, Representative Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I stand in front of you today, one of the highest speech I have ever made in this House. And why? Because what I'm talking about because I know. I lived through North Market, I lived through East Market, and I just recently seen what happened down one. And I'll tell you what, if you live in one of them communities, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't live there, it's pretty hard to visualize what's going on. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. So we got elderly people living in their homes on Social Security and working these mills all their life. And what happens is they become the taxpayer in these communities. Trying to run a school, trying to run a town, and then guess what? No ratio of $25, $30 a thousand. You're living on $1,600, $1,700 a month. I'll tell you what, that tax bill becomes very high. Very high to pay. We sit here, we all want to go and go, talk to people doing, talk to people, talk to the elderly. What do we do? We come out here and say, boy, I feel bad for these people. What's we do to help? We need to have. Give them opportunity to help. Start with some population in these communities and add them up. We have a lot of thousands of people. Now, I'll tell you what, I live in Maine. Why? Because of the quality of life that we have here. The quality of life that we provide to the people that come here. But I see what's going on in some of these mill towns. The quality of life is not what it used to be. The quality of life is deteriorating. And why is it deteriorating? It's because of what's going on because of the big drop in valuation that these municipalities have. If you take $150 million, $200 million, $100 million on an evaluation of probably $300 million or $450 million, I'll tell you what, it's like a third of your budget. A third of the evaluation is gone. That being gone, I'll tell you what, who's left to pay? People and the residents in that community. Most of these people are retirees, because what's going on today, in a lot of these communities, people that are working in these factories are coming from away, 15, 20, 30 miles away, and not doing jobs in the area, good paying jobs in the area. These people are trying to do there to expect all these little small towns and everyone. Not just in any way, man. Let me tell you what's going on. Going on again, 450 homes, either in California or Pennsylvania. He's going on down the road for 8 miles. They're about 150 right now. Okay, or I'll pay them for close walking. That was in Medway. Never had a problem. I never had a case about my time. I think we're going to.
No, I'm been busy.
We're going to community that will get decided on the table. And I see right now, I went to the post office, it's 4 miles away from my home, and they take it home there now. Never send it home. You see what's going on? I know I lost the bill going on it, and we're going to be losing the mill and info on it, I understand that. But I'm concerned about it, the way these 2 mills that I lost started out the same way as what's going on right here, right now. The valuation is being dropped. Being dropped substantially. Anyway, gentlemen, from Jay, Representative Jay, a few minutes ago. David today, and he's going on and going on anywhere between 75 and 85% of tax in the community. Today, they don't pay, no market, there's no birds of bankruptcy. He's going on and lost that law away. Here we are sitting this morning down here to share the house with people that need help. People that have a home. When you go home at night, you go home to a home. That's what these people have. Homes. What's the problem with the home? The home has changed these communities. The way of life has changed. Now you see people going to food banks. Now you see all kinds of different things that you never seen before. You never experienced. And what it is, it's your hometown people. You see your hometown I'm talking about. Very resistant of why we live the way we live because of these hometowns. We like to grow up and raise our children in the town that we grew up in. That's what these towns have done. Now here we are, and on the verge of not wrong with it, something in this line of by rejecting the electrical component rivalry with these things. But that was a few years ago. Then I take time to do this. I think we as a body, as a legislature, we ought to be sitting down, seeing what we can do out in these areas. So that we can provide jobs. Jobs that are all in for our community. And I'll tell you what, that's one of the very good jobs out of the state, like great job. And I'll tell you what, if you want to solve a problem like this right here, the way to do it is have to work by your economy. We haven't done that. We've allowed the nation us now, we tell them they are. That's my situation. My situation, great all the neighbors have been trying to allow some businesses in the area to provide jobs. But they want to captivate the workforce. They have captivated. Which is a good thing for them, but not a good thing for the community, because when the big one dies, all stop. As you can see in my region, the big one dies. And I hate to say it, some of the other people sitting in this room, I know we got them today, down the road, I think one of the other community might die too. And when it does, time for us to take, have the problem for the reason, have something in place to help these guys. This right here is a quick thing, try to solve the problem. Not just one community now, more community. There's no protection. 1,000 people, probably 10, 12, 13,000 people. And I'll tell you what, we have a state, it's our obligation to provide to the needs of those people. This is a need that has to be dealt with, and I feel that this legislative body, by being a mayor, care about other people, and care about the quality of life that we provide them. We shouldn't just provide it to people from away, but we provide it to ourselves. And I'll tell you, I'm Maine, I'm from Maine, I'm proud to be from Maine. I'll tell you what, we need a hand in the water, put it down right now, I want to go there and give me a hand, not to walk by it. But I think we as a body might be doing the same thing. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Representative Dodger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I rise to answer a question that the prior asked. I just wanted to highlight that this is a matter that's very near and dear to the Education Committee. We saw quite a few bills dealing with taxation evaluation. In fact, there was a bill that the subcommittee of our committee worked with the taxation committee, L550, which dealt exactly with this. And they recognized that we don't know what's going to happen in any town or enforcement task of having sudden and severe change in your municipal valuation can happen to any of us anywhere in Maine. The bills actually passed the emergency matter in gross those chambers and is on its way to the chief executive. And some of us in the committee do have some concerns about tacking this on to the budget. So I want to highlight that we all understand this. We all feel to these communities, and that is why we did put a best measure that applied and potentially change the factors for current behaviors and evaluation.
Chair recognizes Representative Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, rural Maine, as you know, is struggling in the small area that I live in about a 20-mile radius. Solar manufacturing is the largest underpressure maker in the world. They underpressures and hospitals close up. Location real, the absolute largest metal wire rope real producer in the world, close the doors. Weaponsville, big gun shops for Remington Irons and Savage. They're gone, they disappeared. And how the paper mills are struggling. The paper mills, the impact in a rural community is huge. It's astounding. They're talking about lumbering, the gas stations, the stores. They all rely on this. I talked with one of the managers in Madison about an hour ago, and they're looking again downtown. So when they get reevaluated, in Madison Paper's case, they know what the value was. It's not some hoax because they were sold a couple
evaluation is done, it's devastating. It hurts the school system, it hurts the police department. I think Representative Farrell commented about the deception matters, and it's gone from simply to continue to function as a community. So I would ask that you support Representative McKay's proposal. It truly is critical to the survival of rural Maine. Thank you.
Chair, I ask Representative McKay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to clarify there was some confusion as far as the text from this bill. This bill is, or this amendment, I should say, is based on work that the Taxation Committee did, and it's a bill that remains, or the concept is a bill that remains in the pipeline. At this point in time, there was a task force from education that came forward, made some recommendations, and those recommendations are included in this amendment. I do understand there's some concern as far as the distribution as far as it's related to education funding and other sorts of state assistance. I will say that this budget includes quite an increase to general purpose aid. So at this time, if we take the actual evaluations of these communities, the real evaluation, it seems like an appropriate time to include those, and as the money is redistributed anyway. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Roll call is in order. Any questions in the House? Amendment C, indefinitely postponed. The House ready for the question. All those in favor of indefinitely postponement, vote yea. Those opposed, vote no. The House ready for the question. Chair votes are now distributed. Call that D.
Who are you talking to? And say what? No, just keep going. Once in a while. All right, sounds good. So next slide.
You're all now voted. Here are those votes for the motion or not to amend 3 further 56 today. The motion prevails. It is now the pleasure of the House that Committee Amendment A, as amended by House Amendment A and B, there to be adopted. Vote to reject suspension of the rules for purpose of being this bill second reading this time. Hearing none, second reading bill by title only.